If you had any doubts about the lengths that the U.S. empire is willing to go to harm, particularly the civilian population in Iran, this article should put all of those doubts to rest. Just the lengths that the U.S. government is willing to go to harm the people in Iran in order to force, regime change. It's disgusting. It's just so messed up on every level and needs to be called out and condemned for the crimes against humanity, the war crimes that they are. So I'll link this article in the description box. But look at this. U.S. Navy seizes ship carrying medical supplies from Iran to China. The U.S. Navy has allegedly seized a ship that was en route to Iran, I think it's Iran, right? Iran, carrying zeolite needed for manufacturing oxygen concentrators for coronavirus infected patients, the Islamic Republic's semi-official news agency reported. According to the Fars news agency, the U.S. warships seized the ship near the Chinese port of Qingdao on Wednesday morning. Dhaka Tribune has not verified the agency reports and cannot vouch for their accuracy, but I mean, frankly, it would be a surprise if this was false. I believe the U.S. would do things like this because, again, the sanctions that are placed on Iran, Venezuela, Syria, etc., lead to just massive amounts of death and suffering. Just in 2017, 2018 alone, the sanctions on Venezuela led to the deaths of tens of thousands of people, and the U.S. is literally denying access to medicine to Iran during a pandemic, and this in particular was for coronavirus affected patients. I mean, just Jesus fucking Christ, it's just so disgusting. And again, this is U.S. taxpayer dollars hard at work harming people who have no intention of harming us at all. It's disgusting. And I mean, it's just so fucked up. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how anybody in their right mind could defend this type of behavior taking place. It's disgusting. Only one imported part is used for the production of oxygen concentrators, which is zeolite, and we are forced to purchase it from France and import it to the country through several intermediaries. Peyman Bakashaden Nejad, the CEO of Zist Tahiz Danish Poya company in Iran, told the Fars news agency. He said that the ship's cargo could lead to the production of 4,000 to 5,000 oxygen concentrator systems to be used by the patients. Literally, the U.S. is denying Iran life-saving equipment here. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, literally, this is going to lead to death and suffering in Iran against, the most oppressed and marginalized and vulnerable in the population, as always happens with U.S. foreign policy. It's always the most vulnerable, oppressed, and marginalized that are affected by the U.S. wars of aggression, sanctions, which are a form of economic warfare, blockades, now seizing this medicine. It's disgusting. Baka Shindan Nehad dismissed claims that the U.S. sanctions do not leave impacts on Iran's medical and health sectors. I mean, just look what they did. They just seized this freaking neolite stuff that's used to produce oxygen concentrators, for God's sakes. I mean, an oxygen concentrator is a device that concentrates the oxygen from a gas supply, typically ambient air, by selectively removing nitrogen to supply an oxygen-enriched product gas stream, which, obviously would make sense for people affected, by the coronavirus. Just their, lung capacity, is oftentimes diminished a lot. A pioneering knowledge-based based company, Iran, had also in April produced a special oxygen concentrator system which can be used by the coronavirus patients at home. Oxygen concentrator is the knowledge-based product of the company. When the lungs are not powerful enough to pump the necessary oxygen into the blood, the system can increase the purity of the lungs. Oxygen. Ali Abrahimi, the CEO of the company, said. He added that the system had been manufactured in 3 home, central, and portable versions. Ibrahimi said that one of the most important applications of oxygen concentrated systems is for coronavirus patients who can use it at home without any need to visit a hospital. I mean, again, it's this type of story, just complete, disgusting, illegal, unethical, immoral, uncalled for in every level overreach of the U.S. government and the U.S. empire, and just how that spans across the globe, and how most politicians, people in power, whether it be Republicans or Democrats, seem to be okay with the U.S. doing this. It's just disgusting on every level. And I mean, just think about this for a sec. You're a person that's living in the United States, and the role was reversed. Let's say China was blocking a shipment of medical supplies coming from Europe or something. We'd rightfully call that out and condemn that as completely disgusting, illegal, and immoral behavior, and we need to have that same type of consistency to call that out when the U.S. engages in this type of behavior. There's nothing else to be said. It's fucked up. Peace. Much love.